Stepping in as a Lansing Police Department's new Chief of Police, we welcome Chief Robert Backus to Mid-Michigan Matters. And you started your career with the department when you were 15 years old. Given your experience throughout the years, what have you noticed as the big issues within the community?
We talk to the community a lot. The most pressing issue we have right now is the level of violence in the city. And it's not that it's getting worse, it's the idea that I think people's tolerance for this kind of behavior is finally at a point, or I shouldn't say finally, but at a point where they're ready to stand up to it and they want to see change.
And what is that change that is going to happen within the police department to prevent all of that violence from happening and protect the community?
There's really two different sides to it. When the police are at a scene, they're essentially working backwards. So to try to find out what was a series of events, who are the people that are involved. Ultimately, our goal when we get to a crime scene is to get that case in a position where we can identify suspects and bring that case to the prosecutor's office for charges. The other side to that is the proactive side. Hopefully, that with some of our different community efforts that are going on right now and the groups that exist, we start getting into a mode where we're doing more intervention before the crime actually happens. And that's really where we're focusing on right now. We're very familiar with how to investigate these crimes. It's the idea of the community groups that want to be more involved with the efforts and the people that are really involved in these type of incidents or where they could take place. That's new to us, and that's something we're embracing.
All right, so within embracing that intervention, how community groups are stepping up, are you seeing more community groups evolve or populate? And are you seeing these interventions really help the community in preventing this violence? What is that outcome like?
They are starting to evolve. I mean, they are growing in popularity, and I think the idea is that when you have people doing good work and then you give attention to the good work, that other people are going to see that, they're going to gravitate towards it naturally. What I'd like to see is, for some of the groups that are out there, a better partnership with the police department. So one of the groups that we have is called Lansing 360, and we meet every week, and that's where we put the police department and the community groups that are specifically oriented towards violence intervention and support in the same room. And we start talking about what has been the trend in the city over the past week, because we meet every single week. And then the other groups are able to offer some of what their services are. They're able to offer their observations of what they're seeing and what they're experiencing. So that flow of information back and forth to all parties that are doing work towards addressing violence, are sharing information, they're sharing strategies. It's just starting, so stuff like this has to build. I mean, the model that we're following has been in play for 17 years, and we've seen drastic reductions in violent crime. So we know that this is a journey. It's not something that's going to happen overnight.
Right, and your team, how do you plan to retain and gain more officers that, it's hard to get across Mid-Michigan, it's a big area. How do you plan to disperse them across the area when violence does occur? They are more likely to get there within a certain amount of time and address it.
So one of our biggest struggles right now is our hiring. And it's not necessarily that we have problems hiring in the city of Lansing, it's just the general idea. We've had a lot of retirements. So we had a big hiring push back in the late 90s, and all those people retired. And so there is less people that are applying to be police officers, so we're not getting the flow of people in to replace those retirements fast enough, and that's left us with vacancies. But we are seeing an uptick. We have more applicants now, and the tide turns. These things go in waves. And so we recently opened up an application process, and right now we've identified 14 people that we're putting through the police academy. We're sponsoring them, which means that in about a year's time, they're going to be through a training program and they'll actually be police officers on patrol.
You're being proactive in hiring these officers into the department so that there aren't those vacancies. Now, connecting with the community and wrapping it up here, Chief Backus, there is an upcoming event. If we can pull that up, there we go, for the community next week. What do they need to know?
So this Sunday, starting at 11 a.m., going till 2 p.m., we're actually blocking off the street right in front of the Capitol, so the Michigan and Capitol intersection. The Michigan State Police is bringing in their community services team, and we're bringing in our community services team and our PAL League, and we're going to have basketball hoops, we're going to have rock walls, we're going to have inflatables, we'll have free food there, lots of entertainment, and we're also bringing in people from our neighboring jurisdictions, our other police departments as well. So it's going to be a great event, and hopefully there's a lot of people there.
Yes, a great way to bond with the police department and the new police chief. Thank you so much for joining Mid-Michigan Matters.
Thank you for having me.
Of course.